why should we care? Why do we need to be concerned about density? First of all, there are environmental reasons. Everybody wants to be green now. That's the big thing. And yet we've, had trouble getting there. We want to obviously preserve the wild places and the farmland, not only to enjoy them, but it's a valuable resource that we actually need for our economy. And if it's all paved over, that's a problem. And yet, because we haven't been able to build successfully in this country, the amount of land that we consume is growing at a rate far faster than population growth. As you can see here in the West, for every, we increased over the last 20 or so years by 32% in population, which is the blue, but 49% in land area. In the South and the Northeast, it's even more of an exaggeration. The Northeast only grew by 7% in population, but 39% in land area. During this period, Cleveland actually shrunk by 8% in population, and it still expanded 20% in land area. And so you can see here on this chart, I'm going to show a series of charts based on this template. Density rising up the left side from very low densities all the way to extremely high densities. Along the bottom from left to right. And then on the top, from top to bottom, you can see the acres of land used per 1,000 households. And at 3 units per acre, very low suburban densities, we use a lot of land. And then as you get denser, it very quickly drops off, and the amount of land used by each household falls dramatically. We're not going to save the wild places unless we get this under control. And we're not going to get this under control unless we have some density. Not only does all this take up space, but most of this space is occupied by lawn. Lawn, fescue, and other grasses is actually the largest agricultural crop in the United States. And in the western half of the country, 60% of urban water use goes to this. We have enough water for the people, but we have too much grass to water, and that's really one of the big issues. And so you can see as you get denser going to the right, water use drops dramatically. And that's because you don't have so much lawn devoted to each family.
What is the scale on that?
So that is gallons of water used per household per day. And it drops dramatically as you go to the right and get denser. Another issue is traffic congestion. Everybody's worried about traffic congestion. No one likes to sit in a mess like this. And vehicle miles traveled, similar pattern. Vehicle miles traveled per household per year. On the low end of the density spectrum, 25,000 miles a year or so, dropping way down as you get denser. And density obviously isn't the only factor. Walkability, transit viability, bike facilities, and so on. All that contributes to really make this number go down. So you can, as you would expect, gasoline use drops way down as you drive less. It's very logical. And as you use less gas, then you emit fewer air pollutants into the skies. So a perfect example of how effective this can be is from a recent project in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is a very, red state type of place, not a bastion of liberalism, and yet you can see the project is at the top in the small circle. It's called Atlantic Station. Downtown Atlanta is just a couple miles away in the big circle. This is what the new project looks like, a mix of heights and densities. It's also mixed use. They did a pretty good job, and the average resident of Atlantic Station drives 8 miles a day, whereas the average Atlanta resident drives 34. So putting the density, making it dense, making it walkable, and putting it in the right place can give you these kind of results.